So my original research when I was a doctoral student, I was studying the military and officers in training that had made pretty major mistakes and were on the verge of getting kicked out of the military. And what I studied was the process by which they got second chances. So they were not actually kicked out of the military, but they were allowed to stay in their position, and they learned how they sort of grew from it and kind of rehabilitated. And I think from that experience, what I realized was that it's one thing to have an organizational an organization scaffold the process of second chances, where an organization kind of takes a chance on you or gives you the opportunity to try again. But I really started thinking about what happens when there's no organization that takes you in, that sort of leads you through a second chance. And I started thinking a lot about people that have been just as impacted because of that, people that have made mistakes or made bad decisions, who, as a society, we say we're going to give them a second chance, but there's not a lot of organizations or institutions that seem to be providing the scaffolding and the support to do that. And so I got really interested in understanding, especially for people that have been, incarcerated for white collar crime, sort of how they make their own second chances, even when society's not really giving them one. So I've been very lucky. Jeff and the White Collar Support Group has been very supportive of the research that I've been doing. This research really involves me having conversations with people who are at all stages of the process. That could be they have just pled guilty, they've just been sentenced, they're about to surrender, or they are back and they're under supervised release, or people that have been back for 20 years. So I'm interested, and I am talking to people kind of at all stages of this process. It has been humbling and inspiring and just such a privilege to hear people's stories. I have been blown away by the challenges that so many people have been through, of all sorts, professional and personal and emotional, and how the various ways, and often very creative ways that people navigate and respond to and rebuild despite the challenges that they're facing. Really, these conversations last anywhere from 45 minutes to several hours, depending on how long people are interested in talking. I'm here to listen, really. It's really just about letting them tell me their story, and then of course asking specific questions about sort of different parts of the process. But I've started doing second round interviews with some people, and even though they're just 6 months after the first interview, I have been blown away by how people change and grow, and how their perspective on things evolves, and how sometimes in the first interview, especially when they're kind of recently out, it feels like the world doesn't make sense and that nothing's going to get better. And then 6 months later, talking to them again, and things have fallen into place, or that they are kind of making their way. And it's not they're not where they want to be by any means, but it does get better, and it's a progression. And I think it's great and maybe amazing to see that. But I think, the research that I really want to do is, what can we do to, not make it take 6 months? What can we do to sort of make the rebuilding process go even more smoothly or even more quickly for people that are coming out? I am still very interested in talking to more people at all stages of the process. Is that you can go to the Prisonist webpage. There is information there about how to get involved, or we will be posting a QR code that you can scan as well to fill out a survey and get involved.